Hello beautiful people, welcome back to today's tutorial. Okay, today's tutorial is going to be on how to cut a gown that has front slit. Okay, now we are going to cut the skirt. We are cutting the front pattern first. I'll put the fabrics on a fold of 2. So what I use to put this on fold, if you can see here, I have the straight line here. This is 2 inches for my slit. This is allowance for my slit, so I have to remove it first. So from this line is where all my body measurements start. And to determine the fabric I put on fold is my hip measurement, round hip measurement divided by 4, which is for my own is 12.5 inches, plus these 2 inches, that is 14.5 inches. Then if you are putting that, you put 1 inch for your that will be 15.5 inches plus 1.5 inch seam allowance, that is 17.5 inches, and that is what I have here. Okay, now I've already marked out my horizontal lines, but I will explain to you what I did here. The first, this is going to serve as my waistline. Then from that waistline, I got my hip point of 9 inches. So from there, I got my knee length of 21 inches. I use 21 inches for my knee because my client is a bit tall. Then I now got, remember in the blouse we use 18 inches for a half length. So and the full length I'm working with is 61 inches. So you have to put your tape at 18 inches here to get your skirt length. So the skirt length I'm working with is 61 inches. So this is 60 inches and this is 1 inch to make it 61 inches. So I now have to put 1.5 inch for my folding in allowance, because my lining, I'm going to short my lining now with 1.5 inch. So this one will now complete the lining because I'm folding it with the lining. So now we're going to take the body measurements. So the waist I'm working with is a round waist of 41 inches. When I divide it by 40, you give me 10.25 inch. 10.25 inch. So I'm going to input my 10.25 inch here on my waist. This is my waistline. From this center front. So now the hip, like I said, is 12.5 inches when I divide it by 4. I'm not putting any allowance yet. So I'm putting my 12.5 inches for hip here. So on my knee, this is my knee measurement. So on my knee now, I'm going to minus 2 inches from what I have for my hip. I have 12.5 inches. So that means I'm inputting 10.5 inches on my knee line. So on my knee line, I'm going to input 10.5 inches on my knee line. So the same 10.5 inches I inputted on my knee line is what I will put on the hem line. I'm moving it forward so that you will see what I'm doing. So I'm going to input 10.5 inches on the hem line. So the next thing, I'm going to connect the points together. So I'm going to connect the points. I'll connect from my waist to my hip. So now from my knee, I'll just go straight down with a straight ruler. I'll just go straight down. I use my long ruler and connect it straight to my head. So this is it. So now I'm going to input my seam allowance and my dart allowance. at my waist I will input 2.5 inches, 1 inch for that allowance, while 1.5 inches is for my seam allowance, 2.5 inches. At this my hip, I'm going to input 1.5 inches for my seam allowance. On my knee line, I will also input 1.5 inches. On my hemline, I will also input 1.5 inches. So what I have is 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches here. So I will connect the points together. So now I'm going to cut this out. I'm cutting from this my seam allowance line, this way, this way, this way, this way, till I get to my hemline. So I've cut it out. Now this is what we have for the front pattern. Remember, it's on foot, and I'm going to use this now to cut the back exactly the way it is now. I will just place it on my fabric and cut out the back, because these 2 inches here now will stand as the zipper allowance for the back. So I've cut exact the same thing for my back pattern. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark out my 2 inches that I left for zipper allowance. 2 inches for my zipper allowance. I'm going to mark it out now. Then I will connect the points together. I'll connect it together now. So I have marked out my zipper allowance. I've also marked out my hip line and my knee line. So now what I'm going to do, watch what I'm going to do on this my zipper allowance now. I'm going to shape it. So I'm going to take here now, I'm going to take 1 inch. Let me take 1 inch. 1 inch here. Then on my knee, I will also take 1 inch on my knee. Then I will connect this 1 inch here to this point, my 2 inches here, and also from this my 2 inches, I'll connect to my 1 inch at my knee point. So watch what I'm going to do now. So I'll just put my ruler this way. From this 1 inch here, I'll connect it to my hip here. Then from this point, I will connect to the 1 inch on my knee. I'll connect to the 1 inch on my knee. Then from the 1 inch on my knee, have you seen it? I just want to give this zipper allowance side the butt shape, so that it will accommodate the butt very well. So from here now, from here I'll take it down to my hemline. At my hemline also, I'm going to take 1 inch at my hemline also. So I'll just put my long ruler on it this way and connect the 2 points together. So now I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut out from my hemline here. To my butt, then to my waist. So can you see the shape now? This is my zipper allowance now. Once I fix my zip from here to somewhere here, I'll close up the remaining one. So this is to give you the butt shape of both the center front and the side front. So this is for the back. I'm going to use this now, both the front and back pattern, to cut the lining. But the lining is going to be 1.5 inches shorter than the main fabrics. Okay, I'm done cutting my lining. This is my lining. I want to show you something. As you can see, my fabric is longer than my lining with about 1.5 inches. So this brings us to the end of this tutorial. If this tutorial has been helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel to support me. To my returning subscribers, I say a very big thank you to you for supporting me all this while. And if you are stopping by for the first time, please don't leave without subscribing to my channel, and also click on that notification bell so that once I upload a new video, you'll be notified about it. Thanks and God bless you. Sorry, I forgot to say this. The next tutorial we'll do will be on the sewing of this skirt, but actually I'm using it as a gown. But you can, as what I did here now is exactly what you do to achieve your skirt. In fact, you need to watch the sewing tutorial of this gown so that you'll be able to understand it very well, because I'm going to alter this my waistline a little, but that will be when I have dictated my dart, where my dart will be, then, and also created a new, this my 2 inches here for slit is not going to be here. I will transfer it to another place because the slit is not going to be at the center, it's going to be at the side. It's by the time I'm done doing all those things that I will now work on the half, on the chest and the waistline. So you really need to watch the tutorial of the sewing for you to be able to sew a very perfect slit skirt.